In day 1, session 2, we are going to discuss about national integration. National integration means a feeling of togetherness and unity among the people of a country. It also means an atmosphere in which all citizens, irrespective of their caste, religion, and region, live together peacefully. It refers to integration in all respects: social, political, economic, and above all emotional. In an integrated country, people share common goals. They all work together and cooperate with each other for the prosperity of the nation. Concept of nation, that is nationality. A nation is a community which considers itself one. It is held by many ties such as territory, language, common culture, and economic independence. Though India is a country of many languages, many religions, many races, and different customs, yet after the achievement of independence, there is evident amongst its people a consciousness of unity. This is a current of unity in India's diversity. Relevance of NCC in unifying India. NCC creates awareness amongst youth about the diverse heritage of our country and fosters national integration despite linguistic, cultural, religious, and geographical barriers. It helps cadets gain experience to live together, cooperate with each other, and work in harmony with cadets of other states whom they have not known before, thus helping in strengthening unity as under. That is, first one is ethics and social values. These are very important values in day-to-day activities on the ground and are the essentials of personality. NCC helps to cultivate these values though which the spirit of unity and value of personal sacrifice are ignited in the minds of cadets. Second one is cultural and traditional values. Our country has diverse groups which have been divided on grounds of religion, caste, creed, and language. NCC organizes various camps and group activities where ample opportunity is given to the cadets to closely watch the cultural and traditional shows of other religions. It provides the cadets with an opportunity to appreciate each other's uniqueness and cultivate friendship. The third one is discipline and patriotism. A cadet is trained to give selfless service to society and be available any time for national cause. NCC can be described as the nation's disciplined, trained, and motivated young force available for national service to provide assistance in various places as well as provide future leadership and participation in all walks of life. Problems in nation building in India, they are, first one is communalism, the mentality to think that one's own religious community is superior to the others. Casteism, organization of people into social groups for the purpose of marriage. It also creates high and low. People belonging to higher castes exploit the people of low castes. Classism, a social class is an aggregate of persons having essentially the same. People belonging to high class exploit the people of low class. The main classes are scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, backward classes, minorities. Regionalism. India is a vast country where religion diversities exist. The feeling to be loyal towards their own region or state in which they live, a great problem in nation building. Linguism. People love for one's own language and no feeling for the languages of the other people. Illiteracy. The illiteracy means the absence of the knowledge even three, that is R's, that is reading, writing, and simple arithmetic. About 35% of Indians are totally illiterate. Next one is brain drain. When educated and highly skilled sections of the people of developing country migrate to developed countries, such loss is called brain drain. The main reasons for this problem are lack of opportunities, effect of administrative and political evils like nepotism, correction, reservation policy, etc. Next one is terrorism. Systematic use of unpredictable violence to achieve religious and political ends. It is cut off loot and murder of innocent people to achieve political ends. It spreads the atmosphere of terror and fear in the society. Terrorism may be two types: cross-border terrorism and international terrorism such as Naxalite terrorism. Next one is insurgency. Revolt of certain people against a system of power which they do not like in their own country. Last one is natural calamities such as flood, drought, earthquake, landslides and tsunami, etc. I conclude this small part. India takes pride in its rich and cultural heritage. No other nation can boast of such customs and traditions like ours. The building of a nation is possible only through the process of all-round building up of its youth. H.G. Wells was right when he opined that men are born but citizens are made. A child takes to itself what it brought to it. National integration camps provide a very good platform to train the youth in lessons of peaceful coexistence and communal harmony. Next, we move on to the next topic, that is personality development. An individual's personality is the complex of mental characteristics that makes them unique from other people. It includes all pattern of thought and emotions that cause us to do and say things in particular ways. Personality development is developing a personality so as to create a strong positive impression about self with the targeted group. It is very important to maintain one's personality to prove in a long run. Determinants of personality and character development. The major determinants of personality and character of an individual are biological, cultural, family and social factors and situation. Biological factors may be studied under the following heads, that is, heredity, certain characteristics primarily physical in nature and inherited from one's parents, transmitted by genes in the chromosomes, contributed by each parent. Next, brain. Another biological factor that influences personality is the role of the brain of an individual. Next one is physical features. Perhaps the most outstanding contribution to personality is the physical structure of an individual. An individual's external appearance makes tremendous effect in his personality. The second factor is cultural. Cultural largely determines what a person is and what a person will learn. The culture within which a person is brought up is a very important determinant. Third one is family and social factors. The contribution of the family and social group in combination with the culture is known as socialization. Socialization initially starts with the contact with mother and later on with other members of the family. The social group plays an influential role in shaping an individual's personality. The last one is situation. The home environment influences the personality of an individual. There are substantial evidence to indicate that the overall environment at home created by parents is critical to personality development. These are the measures to develop the personality. Judgment. By putting oneself in the other's shoes and understand the situation from their point of view, setting aside your personal interest and your opinion would help in taking appropriate action that would be beneficial to all. Second one is mirroring. Understanding the body language of ideal people and making it a part of your attitude. Observing how they act, how they speak and think, this is called mirroring. Be cheerful and nice. Make sincere efforts to raise other spirits. Little things like these go a long way in breaking the ice and setting the relationship to a good start. A good relationship brings good cheer, which contributes to a good personality. Be sincere and trustworthy. Make others feel that whenever they need your help, you will always be there to lend a hand. People tend to be more respectful to those they trust. Provide compelling ideas. Explain how your ideas and suggestions could be the most effective techniques to implement. Just make sure that all your claims are true and verifiable. This will help always maintain a good reputation. Conviction. Generally, this is a very important thing to remember when persuading anyone. People are self-centered and they always put their own ideas and well-being before others. No matter how close you are to becoming like them and how overwhelming your evidence is. If it does not satisfy you, the efforts will not produce satisfactory results. Therefore, your own conviction and convincing others is important. Positive attitude. Positive attitude leads to a confidence of the individuals. So whatever the situation may be, one should always try to be positive in thing and attitude. Leadership skill. Leadership is a process of influencing the activities of an individual or a group towards the achievement of a goal in a given situation. Leadership arouses the qualities of philosophy, skill and attitudes. The last one is communication skills. This is also one of the important features of personality development. An effective communication skill is an asset to achieve success. We need the support and cooperation of other people to help us in reaching our goals. Successful people know that good communication is an essential ability to influence others. Next, we move on to measures to improve our character. A character can be improved with practice. A few of the leadership traits, if followed religiously, can help to improve character. These are listed as follows: courage, decisiveness, initiative, enthusiasm, loyalty, justice, morality, sense of duty, and patriotism. Role of NCC in personality development. NCC plays a major role in personality development of cadets. NCC helps in developing the overall personality of cadets through various activities as listed below. First one is drill. Personality refers to the physical appearance of a person, especially on initial contact. Active participation in drill of the important qualities which help an individual, the posture of cadets in a keeps correct position. Second one is interaction of cadets in camps. Being an NCC cadet, one can get many good opportunities to interact with cadets from different parts of the country. These camps groom their personality. Here, cadets from different states exchange information of each other's culture and tradition. Third one is competitions. The various competitions held in camps like preparation of flag area, drill and performing cultural programs develop sportsmanship and team spirit among the cadets. Last one is sports and adventure activities. Sports and adventure activities are important for youth as they teach them a number of useful lessons on comradeship, healthy competition, and courage to face challenges, art of leadership, teamwork, grit, and determination, all of which will stand them in good stead in their later life. With that, we have to go to next topic, that is leadership. A leader is a person who has know-how required at a particular point in a group's development and who is in a position where he can use this know-how to help the group achieve its goal. Successful leaders have some characteristics inborn as well as developed by their experience, such as integrity, moral courage, confidence, correct judgment, and a highly developed sense of responsibility. These are the principles of leadership. There is hardcore of principles about leadership behavior that must be understood in order to be effective leader. Effective leadership in group is not concentrated in one or few persons, but is widespread throughout the group. First, set the example. Be technically and tactfully proficient. Know your subordinates and look for their welfare. Keep yourself and seek self-improvement. Keep your subordinates informed. Ensure that the task is understood. supervised and completed. Train your subordinates as a team, making sound and timely decision. Develop a sense of responsibility in your subordinates. Employ your leadership accordance with its capabilities. Seek responsibility for your actions. These are the styles in leadership. There are 3 ideal leadership styles. Autocratic leadership style. In this, all policies and procedures are determined by leader. The leader should take considerable responsibility for assigning the activity, task and companions of each group members. The second one is democratic leadership style. Wherever possible, policies should be matter of a group decision and discussion with active encouragement and assistance by the leaders. Wherever technical advice is needed, the leader should try to suggest 2 or more alternative procedures from which choice can be made by the group members. The last one is laissez-faire leadership style. In this, leader should play a rather passive role in social participation and leave complete freedom for group or individual decisions in relation to activity and group procedure. With this, we conclude today's session. Dear participants, each day you will receive 2 links. One is about course video and another one is assignment link. Each day you should complete your assignment. For that, you have to learn the topics thoroughly by watching course video. Each day 10 questions will be asked. For 5 days, totally 50 questions will be asked. Those who are getting 50% of average will get e-certificate. With that, we will end. We will meet you tomorrow. Thank you. Jai Hind.